Hey, what's going on? I'm Keith here at Sports Vibes TV, and as always, I'm joined by my guy Stephen Fox for another edition of our Knicks Sunday stream. So, Foxy, how's everything with you? You enjoying your weekend so far?
All is good. The weather. It's a little icy rain coming down. Hopefully, it won't be so bad. But other than that, salute to you, salute to the chat, salute to the SV Nation. Can't wait to talk Knicks basketball and NBA rumors tonight.
Facts. We are headed right in the back. We're headed in the right direction. This Knicks team. The last time we were here to discuss the Knicks, things weren't looking too great. But now I think we've made a few moves that we'll discuss with the Cam trade, and also checking out RJ and watching him blossom in front of our eyes. Those are a couple topics we'll get into. We'll also, like you mentioned, talk about some trade topics, and we're going to have our Rokas segment where we look at him and tell you guys exactly what to expect when he makes his eventual arrival here stateside to play in the NBA. So, Foxy, let's give a few shout outs to the people in chat, see what's going on. I see Worldwide L, he showed up early at 7:24.
Yeah, one
Salute
of the
to
greatest
Sincere the
bullies in the
Genius.
world that man has. I love that man's dog. It's the second coolest dog in the world.
I hear you. We've also got Diaz Balling in chat. Salute. Thank you for tuning in.
My
Seeker,
brother.
Duke the Don, D. Burr. Anybody else you want to shout out, Foxy?
Yeah, old friend Illmatics. Oh man, hope all is well with you and your family. Always good when I see you. Puts a smile on my face. Hair Force One, Los Knicks, Will Sulkin, again, another great guy. Luis Melendez. Did you want me to say something about Luis Melendez to you?
Yes. Salute to Luis Melendez. He did hit me up on IG. If you guys want to get more information on the cello and be in tune, follow us on IG at Sports Vibes TV. But salute to Luis Melendez. I was having some conversations with him in the DM, so appreciate him supporting us on multiple platforms. So thank you for that, Foxy.
Yeah, Joey Mitrani, hope all is well. Bricks Nation, my man, all is well. Still Dre, Tom Ford, my favorite designer, hope all is well with you and your family. Michael West, president of the Knicks and the Foxy fan club, as always. Duke Dadden, my man D is balling. Oh, I love my D. So D Burr, hope all is well. Love the chat last week, and thank you for that Bobby Knight. I forgot to bring that up. You are happening, man. You are happening. Great point. We'll catch a lot of you as we go through the show. I see we have our first super chat.
Facts. We got our first super chat from Jay, the $2 super chat. He's saying, Mr. Fox, willing to admit you were wrong on RJ.
You know, it's kind of weird. If I look at last week's show, didn't I say I have a lot of hope for RJ, and I think he's going to have a fantastic second half of the season. So I didn't say anything other than last week, and the things that I did say about him not finishing and everything, I stand behind. So I didn't admit I'm wrong. It's a long season. I believe in RJ. Like I said last week, I think he's going to finish this season strong. He's taking I'm thinking he's taking the helm of this team. He's going to be the franchise, the face of this franchise. So Jay, thank you so much for the super chat, but I don't know what you want me to admit wrong when I said last week and weeks prior to that I believe in RJ.
I hear you on that, Foxy. But speaking of RJ and speaking of this team, let's get into the game. Let me put it up on screen. Some of the stats. So the Knicks, following the trade, you see a trade between two teams and then they go and meet up against each other. But we did, and we ended up winning 117-108. I think it was a solid showing. RJ and Randall both went off. They combined for 50 points. JD mentioned the stat on Knicks Fan TV yesterday. He says when the team is 3-1 when both of those guys score over 20. So, Foxy, what were some of the things you saw from yesterday's game? Anything you want to point out?
Just what you just touched on, Julius. Let's take a step back. Forget, Julius played a great game yesterday. One turnover. You couldn't ask more from Julius. RJ, spectacular. Getting to the hole. Mitchell Robinson was in beast mode. One of the things I noticed was initially that RJ was the guy that was feeding Mitch. It looked like Randall all of a sudden got is finding Mitch in his heart and is passing to Mitch also. But those 24 team assists, those 11 offensive rebounds, again on Randall, only one turnover, 9 assists. Mr. Alec Burks, folks. He's a very quiet dude. He's the silent assassin. But that guy, although he had 17 points, he had 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Yo, you can't ask more than that. Just 41, almost 42% from three. It was a really, really, I think, one of the best games we played this year.
Yeah, definitely one of the best games. First half, the ball was moving. What we had 15 assists in the first half. Ended up with
Yeah,
24 for the game in total. Mitch was a beast, and I think I said it in the pregame. No Clint Capella. I expect Mitch to go out there, 10 points, 10 rebounds. He did just that, finishing with 14 points, 13 rebounds. He didn't hold me down with the blocks. I wanted 2 blocks, but hey, he still made his impact. He still made his presence felt in the paint. So that was dope for us to see Mitch. He's been coming along the last few games. Hopefully he can continue to develop. Also, we saw Evan Fournier knock down some clutch shots late in that
the
game
fourth
for us.
quarter.
Yep.
Yeah.
When the Hawks seemed like they were trying to turn it into a legitimate game. And even RJ came in that fourth quarter. He hit a nice midi, hit a three. So I'm excited with what I saw from this team last night. We're starting to put, solid performances back to back to back. And that's what I'm really looking for from this team. We've seen them have solid performances here and there, but the fact that they are now able to string together multiple solid performances, I think that's enlightening. I mean, that's positive for Knicks fans to
Yeah, he
see.
only had four. They only had 4 offensive rebounds for the game, Atlanta. So I know they missed
And
Capella, but
Mitch
they
had
still.
5 alone.
Yeah, I know. So it was really, really nice. They still had Collins there, even though they were missing Capella. But really, and also just there seemed to be like an urgency the way they were playing D and stuff like that. Folks, I know I've been saying this. I love Quentin Grimes. I just love that kid. I
You're
just
not the
love
only
that
one.
kid.
You watched the
I,
Tips
yeah, I know.
presser?
Yeah, yeah, we were laughing about that. That little video of the guy. God, first that takeaway or the causing the turnover and then hitting that
Yeah,
three, and that guy screaming. And if anybody didn't catch that on Twitter, it was a hysterical video of a guy
yeah.
who feels like myself, Keith, and the rest of the SV Nation. I'm sure the Nick Nation that this is somebody special, and we'll get into it in a little while, folks. But when you have a kid that's playing like this, I just love his demeanor, his style. I hate for him to lose minutes, and I don't care. We traded for Cam. I don't want Grimes to. I see something special in him, and he hit a beautiful mid range also yesterday. So if he starts putting that all together, plus this defense, I love any guy that you can't tell if they're up by 20 or down by 20. I just love his demeanor.
I like the confidence you see with Grimes out there. He gets the ball and he makes quick decisions. He's either going to pull, and if he thinks it's not a good shot, he'll pass it up and let whoever is running the offense reset. So that's what I've liked from Grimes so far. And then the defense, we initially coming into the season, we looked at Deuce as a potential Trey stopper, but Deuce really hasn't been getting any minutes thanks to Tibbs. But with Grimes, we're seeing he's probably an option if we ever see the Hawks in the playoffs at some point in the future, because this season does not look like the season for them. So if we ever bump into them and we need someone to shut down an electric guard, I think Grimes is showing he can be someone that Tibbs can rely on to put in that role.
It always shows, the more I learn, the less I know. It's like at the beginning of the season, I'm like, no, man, Deuce is the dude that'll be going against Trey. I'm looking at Grimes more as a two guy. I'm not going to look at him going against a speedy. Man, was I wrong? Trey's is an elite player. He's gonna eat no matter who, but he absolutely impacted him in his body, getting it in there. So wow, what a gem that we got at 25 this year, folks.
Yeah, so salute to Grimes. Appreciate what he's doing out there on the court for this team. And salute to the front office for being able to get Cam Reddish without having to include Quentin Grimes in the deal. And he paid it back for us yesterday out there on the court.
Hmm.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Let's see what's going on in the chat.
We have another super chat, my friend.
Do we? Let me see. Oh, yep. Salute to Duke the Don for the $2 super chat. RJ, Frenchman, Cam, Juju, Mitch lineup. Can this work? I mean, we're actually gonna get into it. You can try and run that lineup out there. We're seeing RJ show signs of being a legitimate facilitator. Can he run that lineup for extended minutes? I don't think so. I know Cam can also facilitate, but there's times where he's not really a willing passer on the court. So there's a lot of potential with that lineup. It's just I don't know if they'll be able to hold it down for extended periods. I'd like to see someone out there on that court with them that has a little bit more of a pass first mindset.
Yeah, I'm
What about
getting
you, Fox?
dated keys because I'm like Burks, but they're playing well. I hate to break it up. So RJ, a lot of folks, you probably remember that I think opening night a year ago or so, he was the starting point guard. So I have to get out of my comfort zone that you have to have a traditional point guard. It's not the NBA anymore, and if RJ can dish, and we see whether Joker or you see Draymond, so these when I look at lineups, I have to change and say, wait, where is that classic point guard? As long as you have somebody who's a primary ball distributor and does it well and gets everybody involved and makes them energized because they're part of the team, I'm down. So anything could happen.
So I mean, it's interesting. We're talking about RJ running the offense and him being out there without actual point guard. A lot of RJ's success so far over the last few weeks has been with the absence of Kimba Walker. So that's to me something that I've really been trying to look at and say, okay, how is this team going to look once Kimba Walker returns? So Foxy, have you been looking into some of the numbers to see exactly what effect Kimber's return to the team could have?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm very blessed. I have a good friend D. Some of you may know him as D is Ballin. Some of you may know him as D is Poetic. I call him Professor D, and we're early risers, so there's mornings that we chat and we call it the think tank. We get all heavy and stuff. It's like you ever seen pictures of think tanks? People having these deep discussions, sitting in the chairs, smoking a pipe with tobacco. We're smoking pipes, but we're not smoking tobacco. Woo! But we're having a good time. So we're speaking about a week ago, and D says to me, you know, uh, RJ is shooting more shots per game, and his shots have gone up, and it looks like he's taken over this team. And because we had to get on with our days, we couldn't finish the conversation. But he planted a seed. So thank you, D, for the inspiration. So he planted this seed in my head about wow, RJ and Randall and all this stuff. So I went into the Foxy Lab, folks, and I don't know if you want to bring up some slides, but I found out some things, and I just want to walk you through and find out what you think about this analysis as we do our little SV Sports Vibe TV detective work. But RJ had 13 point, from starting from October of the beginning of the season through January. RJ Barrett had 13.2 shots per game, 12.9, 14.8, and 18.7. So he started with 13.2 and now he's 18.7. So I'm like, whoa, D's right, man. Look at this. But then I went back and I said, let me look at Julius, man. So Julius in October, 17 and a half shots a game. November, 16.3 shots a game. December, 16.3 shots a game, 16.5 shots a game. And January, 16.6. So he's really, from a standard deviation, he's really there. And if you look at his 3-point shooting, thank you, his 3-point shooting, Randall, 5.5, 5.4, 5.6, 5.8 attempts per game. So Julius has been pretty consistent. So I'm like saying to myself, yo, I thought RJ was eaten at the expense of Julius. So I said, whoa, Julius has been consistent. Nothing's really impacting him other than a key stat that both, in November, RJ from three averaged 29.2, from December 33.3, and this month 50%. And November, Julius averaged 32, next month 33.3, but he was down to 20.7. So the difference is, I'm like taking a step back, and then I'm like, okay, let me look at Kemba. Kemba in October had 10 shots per game, November 9.6, December 16 shots per game, and he hasn't played in January. So that's 16 shots. And then if you look at Burks, the person who replaced him, 6.8 in October, 9.0 in November, 10.1 in December, 10.5. Pardon me. So he took over the role. So it's basically 16 minus the 10.5. So it's like 5 and change. So if you take the 5 and change and add it to that 13.2 on RJ, that's how he got up to the 18. So his shots were not because of Julius taking a step back. It's because of Kemba not being here. So I think the crazy thing about it, a lot of us, we see Julius is arguing with the refs and his turnovers and his body language, and it's easy for him to be a villain, but he's not a villain here at all. None of them are villains, but I really think that when we look at this, and also one of the key parts is usage. So RJ's usage went from 20.7 in October, 23.6 in November, 28.2 to 29.1. But the key part of it is Randall. His usage in October was 27.4, November 27.8, December 28, January 27. So October's 27.4, again in January 27. He's within that range. So he hasn't given up. His usage hasn't changed, Randall's. So all of this is happening because of the minute Kemba went out, RJ started this surge with RJ happened because of Kemba. So anybody that thinks that because Randall took a back seat and turned it over and to RJ, Randall's doing everything that he is. And if you look at Randall, his points per game, 20.8 in October, 18.9 in November, 19.1 in December, 16.8 in January. But that 16.8 is not because he's giving it up to RJ. That's because he was shooting 20% from three. If you look at, you add 1 3 or 2 more threes, he's back at 20-10-5, this guy. So Julius has been consistent. And if you look at RJ, he went from 17.2 points per game in October, 12.8 in November, 17.6 in December, to 24.3 in January. But it's the same thing. It's because of his 3-point shooting. He went from 33% to 50%. That's two. You add 1 or 2 threes, boom. That's where it is. But the really weird part is when I went through this stuff, and I talked to D yesterday about it, going through it, that wow, I didn't realize it, but I think the biggest thing that happened to the Knicks was Kemba going out. RJ took over when Kemba went out, not because Julius gave up the throne.
I mean, that's pretty interesting, Foxy. A lot of
Thank
numbers.
you. Thank you. A lot of numbers. I know, but I gotta.
A deep dive.
but I know, but I gotta do a shout out to my boy D for the inspiration, man. He's awesome. So, but we have this. Last week we were looking at shot charts of RJ going against a Dallas versus a shot blocker. So we're always having these really deep conversations before people even get up in the morning, and then we get on with the day. So I'm incredibly blessed to have you and George and JD and D and J Boogie. So I'm always loving having these conversations. So, but it was an interesting thing, I thought, by looking at this, that it was really the surge happened because of Kemba being out, not because Julius was giving up anything. Julius is consistent, man.
Yeah, Tibbs is gonna have a problem on his hand when Kemba's finally, healthy enough to return. I've been playing devil's advocate. I'm saying, hey, maybe they're behind the scenes saying he's not ready yet because they see RJ is blossoming. Because you reinsert Kemba back into this lineup, you're taking the ball out of RJ's hands a lot more. He's not going to be as aggressive with Kemba out there running the offense. So I've always been trying to see exactly what this team is going to look like when Kemba returns. So thank you for providing a lot of those numbers for us.
No, thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform. But also you brought up a great point. I'm really worried that this is a delicate thing. RJ is on the rise. I don't want them messing with it. I don't want them bringing in Kemba. It's like Lee Burke's there. Let Kemba get high.
They're messing with it. They brought in Cam. That's definitely going to throw a wrench at the thing somewhat.
It is, but did you also hear Tip say that it's all about practice and stuff like that about Cam, that you got to earn it to get on the court? So to me, I was like reading like he loves Grimes. But
Well,
I
I have clips from Tibbs's press conference. So once we get into Cam, I'll definitely play it. That way, all of SV Nation can hear exactly what Tibbs had to say and also what Cam had to say
Yeah,
or
but for
has
the
to say.
first time yesterday, I saw the guys coming together.
Hmm.
You saw them enjoy, and it's like this is a delicate little thing. Everything's working, and you're watching, RJ and the pistol coming around, and
Yep.
I just love the complexity. They start with the pistol, and then it's basically the screeners doing a pick and roll from the pistol, and all these things. Like, man, they're playing beautiful. It's like, don't mess this up, folks. And also, I'm saying to myself from the front office, you know what? You're really rich, Dolan. Please, you're paying him $8 million. Don't over the next few weeks say, you know what? Let me showcase him to see if maybe we can get a second round draft choice or something for Kemba, because you're not going to get a first for him. So it's like, come on, we have enough second round choice. I don't mean anything. Don't If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're clicking now. Do not change this lineup, please. I'd love to know what the SV Nation thinks about that. Don't mess this up, Kemba. I love you. I'm a Bronx boy like you, but come on, man. Like, I think if we can't trade him, sit on the pine or do something. But don't mess up this synergy that we have now. We've been waiting so long to get it. Don't mess with it.
I hear you. I hear you. Or just to give a couple more stats in terms of RJ Barrett's recent stretch or recent performance, he scored 20 or more points in 5 of the last 10 games. He shot over 50% from the field in 3 of his last 6 games, and he shot 40% from three in each of his last 7 games. So he's been able to score from the 3-point line. We're seeing him be aggressive, attacking the basket. And yesterday we saw him also finish from the free throw line. I mean, not finish, but convert easy buckets, not easy but convert free points at the free throw line. So that's all positive signs for RJ Barrett and his growth here in New York.
And what you said earlier, that midi, man, I love that mid-range jumper. It
Hmm.
changes everything for him, because if those guys, they say tendency, he's going to take that, they'll take that one step and then he can blow past them to the rim. He's not dribbling into them, he's dribbling around them. That means everything, man. So, he's playing beautiful. The team's playing. Let's rock with it, man. Don't mess with it.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because now we look at the super chat that we got earlier. If I were going to mess with the lineup and not put Kimber back in, then I would consider Cam replacing Burks. That way we can put Burks back with the second unit and he can play with that squad, which we know he has pretty good rapport with and nice synergy with that second unit. If I were to make a move, it'd probably be that or swap Cam for Fournier.
And kicking RJ over to the point where Burks was.
You would say that because you'd have to have somebody play point, I guess, but it would just be the same way the offense is running now, where we're moving a constant ball movement, allowing defenses to focus in, key in on Julius Randle, and make the right reads and play off that attention.
Cool.
Because even when Julius Randle isn't having great games, the defense, he still draws attention out there on the court more so than anybody else we have on this roster. So if we're not going to play with a true point guard, then we can play with the ball in RJ's hands and then also have the rock in Randall's hands, let him draw some attention and make the right reads. But
Yeah.
but it'll help alleviate some of the stress off of Julius Randle, where he's the only one that's trying to go out there and make a play.
Yeah. Was that a gorgeous pass from Julius to Mitch for the slam yesterday?
Yeah, he had a few beautiful passes.
And also, like you just said, shout out to Tom Piccolo. There was a play where he got it, they converged, and he just kicked it to RJ across court for for a three. So I was like, yo, I like that pass. And, Randall, thank you, because you don't really see him work a lot in the past with Mitch that way. So I'd love to see him build on that, but it was a beautiful pass. I had to rewind it because I didn't see the pass when it happened live. It happened so fast. And the next thing I saw is him slamming it. And I'm like, yo, did Randall just get him that pass? And then I went, man, all right, Julius, thank you. Second team All NBA last year. You playing that way? We love you.
When Julius is
Thumbs
engaged, no
up.
problem.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, when Julius is engaged, this team is a problem. We've got players that are now finally hitting their open threes, and we've got Julius Randle making right decisions. Once we have those two things clicking, this team is gonna be shooting up the standings. That's my thought, at least. I don't know how you feel, Foxy.
I feel the same way as you.
All right, we've got George in the chat. He's saying salute SVTV. Let's get those likes up. Thank you, George. Appreciate you pulling up and supporting the live stream.
Yep. And again, as Georgia said, please smash that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. So, folks, we just got to say thank you. We've added over 350 subscribers in the last few weeks since the holiday. So the SE Nation's growing leaps and bounds. So we can't tell you thank you enough. Thank you. Tell your friends about it. 6,000 is in our target that we hit, but 350 over the last few weeks of subscribers is just spectacular. We can't tell you how much. Also, please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content from Sports Vibe TV. Please share the link for your favorite social media platforms. And as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do. I think we have another super chat.
Appreciate you guys. Let's see. From Josh, Uncle Fulio. What's good, Josh? I heard you on TV yesterday. I think George had mentioned it live. I was chopping it up with George, and he had mentioned, "Hey, is that Josh?" Let's see what he has to say. He says, "Can we stop with the narrative that Julius was getting in the way of RJ, or that
You just
RJ
did that
was struggling because he was at the three, or that he needed a point guard?" Yeah, I think we pretty much did not we, Foxy did a pretty much solid job of, putting that to rest. Let's see what else we got going on in the chat.
Hey, even Michael West said amazing. I agreed with Foxy. Yo, that is amazing. But I love you, Michael. Me and my Knicks, how do you feel about making a run at Colin Sexton? Ooh,
no.
No.
Yeah, usually I don't like to target players where their team does better without them. Or not saying does better without them, but you see them start to percolate in their
You see
absence.
Garland's game yesterday? I think he had 18 assists.
I didn't catch it. Break it down to me.
I think he had 18 assists. I think he scored 27. Let me see if I have it here.
I know Mobley had a double-double.
Yeah, I love that kid. That's a franchise. And I think I share with a few people, one of my sleepers, folks, this year in the second round for a stretch 4 or 5 is Isaiah Mobley, Evan Mobley's brother. So,
keeping it in the family.
Yeah, keeping it in the family. But let me see if I have this. Anthony Simons had another huge game yesterday, man. Okay, sorry, folks. I'm trying to find this as fast as I can. Darius Garland had 24 points, 18 assists, 5 rebounds, and only 2 turnovers. So, like you just said, he's eating now that Sexton's not there. The whole team is gelling. So, I love his speed. He's, he's a top 20 scorer every year, but he doesn't, if he's in the role that he is as a point guard, you're supposed to make the players around you better, and he just hasn't ever demonstrated that skill.
Okay. Also want to point this out. It says, Mr. DJ says, so we don't need to trade for a point guard. I think we still need a point guard. I just don't think we need a ball dominant point guard, someone that has to have the ball in his hands and set plays up for his teammates. I'm not saying we need another Alfred Payton, but if we can get a point guard in that can knock down their three, play solid defense, and create when they need to, I think that's solid enough. So
we'll get into a little later.
Try to get an elite player. Yeah,
we'll get into it later, but that's why they're hot on Jalen, because he's exactly what you just said.
He fits into that mode. Yeah. All right, so Foxy, I want to play for you and the chat some comments from Tom Thibodeau when he was discussing the Cam Reddish trade. So, guys, give us about 2 minutes. We're going to play this, and then when it's done, we'll come back and discuss.
So we should ask you, since we are going to talk to him today, you talked to him on the phone, and what did he say?
And, it was just, a brief introduction, more just, I have certain thoughts because of playing against him, and watching him and that sort of thing. So, and then to get his thoughts about, coming and, just welcome him back into our organization.
How do you see him fitting in? Like, is there a certain role you think he can?
I don't know until he gets there. Obviously, like our scouts have evaluated him and they feel strongly about him, so we'll see.
Did you feel like there was a needed wing, or was it just kind of the opportunity to get a look at him?
Well, I don't think you could have enough wings, so that's sort of the way our league has gone. And I like his versatility. He can play 3 positions. In today's NBA, I think that's important.
Tom, what do you like about your rotation right now, the way everyone's fitting in?
That's the other thing. The group that's playing now is playing well, so we want to keep that going.
I mean, with the young guy Grimes, just how he's complimenting.
I love Grimes. He's a fierce competitor. Can shoot the ball, can guard multiple positions, and he's only going to get better. I think you look at his shot profile. It was great in college, and it's been great in the pros. So that's an important part of winning. And then to see the way he guards people, his competitiveness, that stands out.
When you have everybody available, do you expect to keep that rotation size the same? Or?
We'll see. Like right now we have left Kemba and Derek out. So when they come back, that adds more to the mix, and so you're more than likely taking somebody out, and that's before even thinking about adding anyone else. There's the rotation is. No one's playing 10, 11, 12 guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Is there a chance that Kemba plays tomorrow? Or?
We'll see. Doubtful.
Can you talk about just the challenge of, what you expect from this team? They've not been the same since this year that they were last year, but just going down.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably say that about just about every team in the league. I think everyone's had to go through different things. It's been a challenge for everyone. It's how you adapt and stuff like that. We know how talented they are, so we know we're going to have to be at our best.
All right, next question.
Thank you.
First of all, the way Tibbs responds when they ask him about Kemba, we'll see.
Yeah, but
he didn't sound too enthused.
but I love it. We'll see. But what did he say about Grimes? It's like two different things. Like, oh, I love that kid.
It's funny though. The last time Tibbs was having a press conference or a media session about a player and said he loved someone else, that guy got cut, and I was with Dwayne Bacon and Wayne Selden. Not to say that I think that's going to happen in this situation, but at least we know when Cam enters the rotation, it's not going to be at the detriment of Quentin Grimes, and that's a positive. So that means he's going to take some minutes from some of these veterans.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have Kemba and D Rose in the same conversation. I could see Kemba being a casualty, but D Rose is D Rose. He's special, and he still has something. Hopefully that ankle, he has something in his game, and hopefully he's refreshed for the second half push. So we definitely need somebody, especially as a closer, like D Rose, man.
So what were some of your takeaways from what Tibbs had to say about Cam? We heard him say that he's versatile. He can guard 3 or play 3 different positions. I think that's a plus in his book. What are some of the things you took away from the media session?
Yeah, I think he's saying what a lot of people, he's saying he's not going to say anything bad about him, but he's saying the perfunctory things, that he's a very versatile guy, that when you look at him, he has all the tools. He's got the prototype size, 6'8", 7'1" wingspan, incredibly athletic for that wing position, whether RJ goes back to the 2 or whatever, but like he said, he has very good handles, this guy. So he can play different positions. So whether it's the 3, the 2, I don't know if putting him for the 1, but I said that about Burks.
Exactly.
But I could see RJ at the 1 though, definitely, because I'd like the ball to be in RJ's hands because of, just good decision making. And I think, I just love what he's doing, and I don't want to mess with it. But he has a very good first step. Has very good shooting mechanics, effortless stroke, nice quick release. He's comfortable in ISO situations. Cam, good shaking, get by a defender, and he could hit a pull-up jumper, and it was funny. It was about a year or so ago as a kid, but Anthony Edwards, they were talking to him, and we were talking off camera about it. They asked him who was the toughest guy he ever had to guard, and he went, first thing, Cam Reddish. So when guys talk about other guys, especially a guy like Edwards who has uber athletic talent. So if he was, impressed by this guy, like I said, his size, his length, his speed, and everything, it's very, very in his versatility, not only on offense, but on defense. So he could play the different positions on offense, but he also can do that. He has very, very good hands, very, very good feet, and lateral movement. So I think it's a great trade. The reality, folks, is that 6'8" wings, 6'8" plus wings with 7'1" wingspans, they're a commodity. They're very valuable, and they're very hard to come by. And if we look at last year's draft, everyone was saying that the wing of the Knicks dreams, our savior was Trey Murphy III. And folks, Trey Murphy's averaging 3.9 points per game. And nothing against Trey. I think he's going to have a fine career. But the reality is, if you look at most 6'8" wings that come out of the draft, they're skinny. NBA is about, on both offense and defense, is about your spot, that you can keep your spot or stop somebody from getting to their spot and stuff like that. So there's nobody in this draft. You have some 6'8" guys, but they're power forwards. They're way too slow to cover NBA, Keegan Murray and others like that, too slow to cover a three in the NBA. So they're a commodity. So, and also looking at this NBA draft, looking at the 3-point shooters, I was stunned, and I shared this with Keese and a few of my friends, that out of the top 50, like 99% of them are like 6'3" and less. They're all guards. They're in the couple guys 6'7", 6'8" are from Cornell, the basketball powerhouses of Cornell and East Tennessee State. So there's really nobody coming out. There's a couple kids, Caleb Houston from Michigan, that has potential, but Cam already has it. So Cam already has the body that we're saying that these kids are going to take, the Trey Murphys and stuff, it'll take 2 or 3 years for them to gain. Cam already has that. Cam is shooting, 37, over 37% from three this year. So, I think that, that it was a great trade, but also, as analysts, we need to be cool, and need to be real. That if you take a step back and say, if the Hawks traded Cam, Solomon Hill, a second-round draft pick, and paid over $800,000 of Solomon Hill's monies owed to him back to the Knicks for Kevin Knox and a draft pick that most likely result in a role player level player, there are issues with Cam. There's nothing, I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly here, but anytime you trade Kevin Knox and get something back for it, you're not going to be getting, you have to keep it real. He's a very good corner three shooter this year. And folks, I don't know if you saw me on my tweet when we made the trade, Fox Sports Talk on Twitter, if you want to follow me, that he's never been a good shooter. He's been a below average shooter. This year he's shooting well from the corner three, but he's not a good finisher at the rim. He's not a good finisher. He's not a good mid-range shooter. And actually he has all the mechanics and everything. But when you look at him and you look at what he did in Atlanta, he lacks consistency and focus, and he disappears at times during games. And this has been a problem that's plaguing him since high school, AAU, international play at Duke, and now, with the Hawks, and unfortunately, it's an ugly word, but his motor has been questioned. From an injury history perspective, he's missed 62 games in his career, 118 out of 180 games, and his biggest injury was a non-surgical Achilles issue that he had. So, but that doesn't take away from anything about the acquisition. I think it was a phenomenal acquisition. And I think that the low-hanging fruit for this team is basically just sit him down and say, your future, not only for the Knicks and the NBA, we need you to develop into a solid defender, a stopper. that play consistency night in, night out, that you're a dog at a very high level, especially against the opposition's top wings. And just to be selfish, if you could alleviate that burden off of RJ and have Cam take that on, wow, I think RJ can go to another, you won't get exhausted. You running around against a Tatum and stuff like that. It takes away from your offensive game. And then
even though with the Celtics, he's running around from Tatum. If we bring Cam, and now we're just gonna have to run around and chase Brown. So that's not the greatest example. But there's other teams where RJ will get a night off if Cam's taking a tougher defensive assignment.
Absolutely. But also on offense, keep it simple. He's shooting very at an elite level this year from the corner three. Park him at the thing. He's coming into half season. He hasn't had a training camp with the guys and stuff. Simplify it. Just be a dog on D and hit those corner threes. And obviously, when a situation arises where you can go ISO and stuff like that, but we don't need them. RJ's clicking, Randall's clicking, Fournier's clicking, and stuff like that. Hey, come in and just do those couple of things. And over the next couple of years, our development staff, if we can get him consistent, that'll be really, really important. So he'll be out probably for a couple of weeks with this ankle injury. And when he comes in, I expect him to be on the second team. Like you said, I don't expect him coming in. I think they'll play like 10, 15 games on the second team, and we'll take it from there. But I also, when we're looking at, I think we have to be prudent and not be so fast. I think we'll trade either Burks or Fournier, but I don't think we're going to trade both. And if we do, I think it'd be a big mistake. That Cam can't replicate their shooting, and this team needs shooting. So I think we have to be smart and realize that Cam is a project, and that, like I said, it's a great, great trade. It's worth to throw the dice for his potential upside. Knox in a role player is a low cost, but if we can develop Cam, wow, we got a big reward. But folks, the reality is that we traded Kevin Knox to Atlanta for their version of Kevin Knox. Two guys that have prototype size on paper and everything, but they've never been able to execute or make, realize their potential. And the realization on both of them is from the neck up. They have all the tools. They just have never put it together. So if our development staff can be patient, let them start off on D, hit those corner threes, and work with them over the next couple of years, it's a great thing. It's low risk, like you said the other night, high reward, and that's he just has that talent, athleticism. But if we can get him to focus, get him to be a dog, get him to be disciplined, let's cross our fingers. And you know what, folks, as a Knicks fan, we're due for some luck. Let this turn out to be the 6'8" wing that we've been looking for, and hopefully with RJ and stuff like that, he has a buddy and he could just, settle in and become the player that we all want him to be.
Yeah, if you let Mark Berman tell it, they're not the best of friends.
I can't stand Berman. I've never liked Berman, and I don't care if he's watching. I've never liked your takes, bro.
No beef on this side, Berman. We cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But one thing is saying, hey, here's tangible stuff about his shooting, but don't be saying shit about his friendship and stuff. Like, do you know him? Were you part of his crew?
Well, to be honest, people were saying the same thing to me on Twitter when I had mentioned the Cam trade during the draft. But then that's just random people on Twitter. I just didn't take anything of it. But
yeah.
like you said, Foxy, I'm a big fan of this trade as well. We both like to look at the roster building aspect of the team, and some of the key pieces when you're looking at building a modern championship in this NBA, and you don't have 3 stars to build a super team. You're looking at the point guard position. You're looking at an elite wing that can defend and be disruptive defensively, and you're looking at a big that can protect the paint and also step out and knock down a 3 when asked to do so. And Cam answers that question when it comes to, or he has the tools to answer that question.
He has the tools.
Being a legitimate wing and being a pest out there and going out, like you said, going up against a Jason Tatum and making life difficult for him. And I understand there are some questions about his motor. Actually, it was pretty interesting to me. There was another clip from that Tom Thibodeau interview where he said he spoke with Cam, and there were some things that he wanted to discuss with him from playing against him. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those were some of the things on Tibbs' mind when they were having their conversation. I wouldn't put it past Tom Thibodeau knowing who he is. But we've got a super chat. I want to get to that, and then after that, we're going to hear from Cam himself. So we got a super chat from Blockchain Boy, $5 super chat. Appreciate the support. He says, "What do you guys think about Donovan Mitchell wanting a bigger market? Shout out to the channel. You came a far way. Keep going. Appreciate the support, Blockchain Boy."
Thank you.
And I think we discussed it we discussed it previously.
Yeah,
I'm all
a week
for
or so
going
ago.
after a Donovan Mitchell. Even though he's not a prototypical point guard or anything like that, I feel like we can never have too many players of Donovan Mitchell's skill set. He's an elite scorer. He can facilitate when asked to do so, and he's got the heart of a winner. I think he's been out there with Utah. They haven't been able to get to the championship or anything like that, but they've been in contention year in and year out. So I would definitely make a move for Donovan Mitchell if he does come available.
Even if the cost is RJ?
I don't see at this point you don't include RJ in that deal. You just find a way.
That's why I wanted to hear you say that.
You try to find a way to get Mitchell here without giving up RJ.
Yeah, you know what they're going to be asking for, so that's probably the first word out of their mouth because of his youth. And I know Jay asked it with the super chat earlier and stuff like that. But folks, I have crazy respect for RJ to be 21 or 22 years old and play the way he is in this league. Yeah, you know how hard that is. So his future is bright. So Donovan is an elite player, but we're at a point right now that we'd have to clean the cupboard probably to get him, and then that's a big step back because he needs guys to play around him too.
That is true. So now let's hear from Cam himself, see how he feels about being in New York.
Just your thoughts on the trade and what New York means to you now.
I'm excited, man. I'm just ready to get started. I'm from Norristown, PA, so I had been in New York a couple times when I was growing up. So I love the energy of the city, and I'm just looking forward to it.
How do you think you fit in this team?
I haven't watched that much. I've only got to watch this one game, but it looks like they play freely and together, which that's what I love to do: play together, play freely. So looks like it should be fun. I think I'll fit in. I think I'll fit in well. What went into that? It was more of just like I was looking for more opportunity. No love lost like at all. It's just the business, and that's something I had to learn myself, even to this very second, still learning how it works. But I just think for myself and for my well-being personally, I think it was just time to make a move for me.
You were like the top rated high school player coming out of high school. Do you set a high bar for yourself in your career and what you can accomplish? Like where do you see yourself?
I think I could be a star. I think I could be a legit star. That's what I'm working to be. So pretty simple. Yeah.
Travis said that yesterday that he wouldn't be surprised if you still became an all-star. Just sometimes maybe the first spot is not the spot what happens. Do you still kind of feel like that you're still on that track?
Yeah, I think I'm still on that track. Continue to put the work in. Like I said, no love lost whatsoever. I know how it goes, but I think it's still there for sure.
So you heard it from Cam himself. He thinks he can still be a star in this league, and I hope he develops into a star. Yeah,
he has the tools, like you said. A lot of guys don't have the tools and size and everything that he has. So if we can develop him, and like we said, he scored 30 points a couple of times already, this past season. So he can put it together. It's just, can he do it, on a consistent basis? That's the key part of it. So, I like what he said, but a couple of things that hit me was, first of all, the front office talking to RJ before the trade. That said a lot to me, that they trust him, and that if they didn't think that he's the face of this franchise or of the future and stuff like that, I don't know if they would show that respect to RJ to get his inside word. And you know what? And if RJ went like this, I don't think the trade would have happened. So I'm glad. Don't you? If they said to him, and RJ said, "Nah, man, I don't think the guys, whether the motor or something else, then maybe would have backed away." And where they said, on paper, he has the prototype. There's a lot of guys in this league have been prototype, aka Kevin Knox, that they just haven't been able to realize it. So really, really like that. So I'm impressed that the front office did that with RJ, and it was a smart move because you want somebody to feel that they're important. The emotions, and my friend D talks about this all the time, man. To everybody get involved. It's a really important thing, and so I was glad. I was glad that they talked to him, and that's the way you nurture somebody to become a star.
Yeah, there was a lot that I heard from Cam in that interview. The only thing I didn't like is the fact that he seemed like he didn't know much about the Knicks. Maybe the rivalry is more so between the fan base than it is between the teams. I thought he would have known a little bit more about our squad before coming here, seeing how we played them 3 games and things like that. But I don't know.
Hey, your thing's a little.
I'm
Is your
excited to have him
phone?
here.
Is your phone near
Go ahead,
your
Sid.
mic? You broke up a touch for a second, so I didn't know if your phone
Can you
was
hear me
by
now?
your mic. Yeah, I can,
No,
but
no. All right,
it got a
good.
little
So
funky.
I just mentioned that I was shocked that he didn't really know much about
No,
the
I heard
Knicks.
you, but
Like,
I
oh,
definitely heard you. I just wanted to just let you know that there was a little interference for a sec there.
no
So,
problem, no problem. I'm good
hey,
now.
can we do a shout out to our family? You're cool now. Can we do a shout out to our family for a sec so I could say hello?
Definitely give a shout out to Jay. He said we got 320 in the chat. Hit the like button. Appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 336. I have 133 likes. So please, folks, smash that like, get that up. Do me a favor again, hit that subscribe button. We really, really appreciate it. And also, please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content from Sports Vibe TV. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And again, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do. Shout out to my boys, Hard Will, Hector, Project Nerd HQ, and Worldwide L. Hey, folks, we talked about a week or so ago. I want to thank you. Somebody did them wrong and they had to start all over again, and you helped them. But we need you to continue to get those subscribers up. So please subscribe to For the Love of the Game. Great guys, great content, and let's support our friends, man. And they are our friends. Adele Chapman, yo, hi Adele. Hope all is well with the family. You and the family. John Talento, our friend.
John says, any word on when Reddish is gonna play? Reddish said it seems like it's not gonna be a big deal. It seemed like he was thinking about returning either tomorrow or Tuesday.
He was practicing shooting yesterday.
Yeah, he was on the court.
Yeah.
I even tweeted. I said, "Hey, the ankle doesn't look good for him."
Yeah. Did you see our friend Adele Chapman's super chat?
No, I did not. Let me see. No, it hasn't popped up on my screen. Oh, yes, it has. I apologize. We've got a $2 super chat from Adele Chapman. What trade would put us in championship contention? See, the issue with that question is I don't think we're one move away from championship contention. It would take a few moves, and I think another draft year at least before we can start talking about getting to like the conference finals, let alone the finals itself. So I don't think a move necessarily puts us into championship contention. I think that's why we made this move, bringing in a player like a Cam Reddish who still has potential and room to grow, because I still think that this front office views it as another year or two before we get there. Fox, are you there? You blanked out.
I'm going to say hello for a second. Do me a favor, check your audio. You're getting it's breaking up a little, your audio again. So let me say hello to the chat and see, just make sure you check your settings. Everything's cool. Yeah. So Geraldine McIver, hope all is well, Geraldine. Hey, my friend Janine, hope all is well, Janine. I saw you on the after show. I didn't get a chance during sometimes you have 335 people or so on a chat. It goes by so fast that you don't see your friends until after you rewatch the show. So I missed you last week, but I ain't going to miss you this week. So hi, Janine. We survived 100 people. We love you. We always wait for our starting lineups by listening to We Survived 100 People. Drip more. Yo, hope all is well with you and the family. It's me.
Yeah, I think they said it's you.
All right.
They said
So let me see what I can do, folks. So
any better now?
when in doubt, just blame Foxy. I know the thing. So
Hey, I'm all for that.
I
As long as I
don't
ain't get any
know.
blame, I live with it. All right. So let's get back into the chat. See exactly what we got going on here. Everybody says I sound good. Yeah, it's not my fault. Let's see. Cam Reddish sounds like Easy E from Shaquan. That was a pretty good one. I liked what I heard from Cam. He sounds confident. He seems like he understands that the start of his career isn't probably what he expected, and he understands that it's a business. But the fact that now he's getting a fresh start, new environment here with the New York Knicks, I'm extremely excited to see exactly what he'll be able to do. Like I've said time and time again, you look at Cam, he's the prototypical wing defender that you can put out there and put the clamps on a player like, let's say, Kevin Durant. We mentioned Jason Tatum earlier. So the fact that we have that player that can fit into that role, I think is great. You add that to RJ Barrett, who is blossoming and continuing to get better and better night in and night out. And you have Julius Randle, who I'll admit I'm not the biggest Julius Randle fan, but when Julius Randle was firing on all cylinders, this team is extremely difficult to beat. And we saw that last night when he went out there with 24 points to go with RJ Barrett's 26 points. So let's see what else we have going on in the chat. G Ghost 123 says Cam is nice, true small forward. Fact, it's been a while. When was the last time the Knicks had a legitimate young small forward that fit the same build or the same profile as a Cam Reddish? I've said time and time again on the pregame with George and in my own edited videos that Cam Reddish coming into college was a top 3 recruit, and a lot of people looked at him as a top 3 pick in the draft. Now, yes, there were concerns about his motor and his performance in Duke, which is what dropped him in the draft, but the talent is still there. And I think with a coach like Tibbs, if given the opportunity, we can definitely see Cam flourish here on this squad. Let's see what else we got going on in chat. Janine says, let's ride with these guys and see what happens. I mean, it's interesting. Our next topic, we're going to be talking about some moves, because you look at this deal, the Knicks, they go out and bring in a Cam Reddish. But like we said, or like I said, we still need to make more moves in order to get this team in a position to be a legitimate championship contender. And not to say that we're going to do all that this season, but if players become available, now would be a good time for us to get into the mix. You look at this team, we still need a point guard to come in and hold it down. We also still need a stretch 5. So when you're surveying the trade market, you want to see what players we can bring in and can kind of fit and gel with this team. Let's see. We had Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas doesn't count. Tim Thomas was older when he got here too at that point. I don't think I would put Tim Thomas in the same league as a Cam Reddish when you're talking about their ceiling. Let's see. Lex the Destroyer, thank you for holding it down. He says, thank you for the 150 likes. Best fans in the galaxy. Let's keep it up to 200 likes. Smash that like button for the squad. Thank you. Appreciate all the support. D51 Rocks got jokes. He said Knox. Knox definitely had potential, but I don't think Knox had anywhere near the defensive potential that we see with Cam. I think Cam's biggest issue is probably going to be his motor and health. Now with Knox, there were a lot more issues. There were issues with his motor, issues with his defense, issues with rebounding. You know, when you look at Cam Reddish, he has way more natural skills or God-given ability than Kevin Knox. I don't look at Kevin Knox as the same type of passer that Cam is. You know, even though you look at some of the games and he's not a willing passer at times, but when he does give the ball up, he's a great passer out there. Nice touch, nice feel for the game. So I'm excited about that, to see him and see how he would look if we're able to put him out there with players that can knock down the 3-point shot, and with a player like Julius Randle attracting that much attention. I would like to see what Cam is going to be able to do off that action. Hey, Foxy, you're back?
Yeah, I got an error message from StreamYard, folks. Anybody that does podcasting, I don't know one person that likes StreamYard. The gremlins get you every. Hopefully this is better. Please let me know. But oh boy, is that frustrating. But right before all of a sudden this big thing came up that from a StreamYard on my computer, and it's like, God, man, those guys just drive me crazy. And I make sure I refresh before I get on the air, everything, and it's always Hail Mary, full of grace. Let StreamYard work in its place. So thank you for
Yeah,
your patience.
you
And
say we blame you. I just blame the Knicks. He probably said something bad about them and they tried to hack us. You know how that goes.
word.
So while you were away, I was kind of working in a segue into talking about what moves the Knicks could make after this Cam Reddish deal. So now, me personally, I look at the roster building. I say point guard, elite wing defender, and then stretch five. So if you were to build a team, Foxy, looking at this roster now, what holes do we have in this roster, and what players would you try to go out and get in order to fill those holes?
I like Jalen Brunson, as we talked about. I think he's the type of point guard that this team needs. He's not. I wouldn't want Fox. No way, no how. But I think this is a kid who grew up in a basketball family. He understands the business. He's professional. You know how I describe Jalen Brunson is Deuce McBride with handles and a higher basketball IQ. They're the same size and everything, but if you watch the game this week, his handles are superior. That's something Deuce has to work on, and he's just a real, the one thing you want any point guard to do is make the guys around him better. And that's why Fox and others, you brought up, we talked about Sexton. They're fast, do all these things, but they don't make the guys around them better. I think Jalen Brunson, and again with his connections and stuff like that, I think he'd be a very good fit for us.
See, me, honestly, I haven't been a big supporter of the Jalen Brunson trade, but as we've seen RJ start to blossom, and it makes me think that we don't necessarily need to have that top five, top six point guard in the league in us to excel. I've opened up to the idea, but still, you look at the ability to get him in free agency, and it's like, I don't want to pay twice. You know what I mean? We would have to trade. I would assume something of value for Brunson if he is a wanted commodity on the trade market, and then we'd have to offer him some sort of contract in the offseason in order to get our money's worth or our value for sending assets away for him. So that to me has always been something I try to stay away from when it comes to building a roster. I always want to stay away from paying twice, especially when it's a guy like Brunson, who to me doesn't really move the needle. He would just be a solid addition to the squad.
Respect that. They're in a conundrum, Dallas, because of the contracts of Porzingis and Luka.
Mm-hmm.
That even though they have bird rights, they can only extend him basically to $13.9 million a year. So I'm with you. I don't want to get a point guard that's like crazy expensive, but if we can get him for 15, 17 million, point guards are important. I know this is a short run, but I think that he'd be a good addition to the team if we can get him at the right price. I always talk about value. I wouldn't want to overpay for him, and let's rock with this. But he's a few years older than Deuce, and I think, like I said, I like Deuce. Everybody's heard that. I love his defense and everything, but there's a reason why he was picked 36. And that reason is because of his handles, his lack of speed and everything. But when you have handles, and if you watch Jalen, he gets to where he wants because of those handles. So hopefully if we don't make a trade over the next years, our development staff will be working, Johnny Bryant, that point guard whisperer, be working with him. So, but I think he would be a good addition without breaking the bank, meaning not having a De'Aaron Fox type of contract.
Yeah. John Talento makes a good point. He says, I'd rather trade for Anthony Simons. Simons has been killing, and I've been keeping an eye on him every game. I got him in fantasy, and I don't see why the Trailblazers would want to move on from him, especially with Damian Lillard's future being in limbo. He's dealing with the abdominal injury that we won't know if he'll return this season. And in his absence, man, Simons has been balling. So he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on if he's made available. I just don't know if the Trailblazers would decide to do that. So he'd probably be put down there with the long shots.
I agree with you. I've watched him for a number of years and I've liked him, but I also think there's a hell of a lot of similarity between IQ and Simon's game. You
Mhm.
know, so if we can nurture IQ, if he's going to be here and not used in a trade, that IQ. If you look at the stats, folks, I have to back off. IQ's pissed me off this year is inconsistency and stuff, but the stats say something different. That the Knicks are a better team when IQ's on the court. There's only a few players that have done anything that IQ's done in his short career, whether three pointers and scoring and stuff like that. So I think if we just keep working with IQ, that we wouldn't have to pay for Simons. We have him already on our team.
I hear you on that one. So, Foxy, how do you feel about any of the other teams I put on this list? I got Ben Simmons, De'Aaron Fox. Those are the big names that are available. You
I,
got the
I
mid-level Jalen Bronson, Kobe White, and then you got the long shots and SGA Murray.
Yeah, I got to thank the SV Nation on Ben Simmons. When I was looking at Ben Simmons, I saw a guy that every year is like a runner-up to Rudy Gobert. That he's not just all NBA defense; he's every year all NBA runner-up for or in the mix for Player of the Year. So I got blinded by that, but the SV Nation and a couple of the people in the chat on our on the video that we put out really said something that hit me, and God bless you because I learned from you guys so much. They said if Ben can't handle Philadelphia, how the hell is he going to handle New York? And you know what?
Exactly.
I love you, SV Nation. You won over Foxy, and I went, you know what? You're right. I was looking at his being an elite defender and getting 8 assists with his eyes closed and everything else. But you know what? You're right. And I'm backing off and saying I agree with the SV Nation. You can't handle Philly. Forget about New York. Next, forget about Ben.
Up,
So thank you,
up.
SV Nation. I love you.
I mean, look at the people that have crumbled under the pressure in New York. You've got, Julius Randle, he had his little skirmish. You had Joe Judge, he had his 11-minute press conference. It's tough out here, man.
It is tough out
You,
here.
you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. There's a
Hey, I
reason
think
they
that could
say
be a
it.
song. Hold on a minute.
Now, Foxy, let's talk about some stretch fives. I think that would be another piece we can add to this team if we really want to elevate our game offensively. And you look at some of the players that are available. Miles Turner, who recently who just had to sit out, I think, because of a sore foot. So he's on the mend. That may affect his trade value. You also have Valanciunas, who hasn't been reported to be available, but he's a stretch five. The Pelicans really aren't doing much. And if we make a reasonable offer, who knows? Maybe they might pick up the phone.
But
Other
also, there's
players.
a key thing with
Go
him.
ahead.
He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year.
I think they offered him up an extension. I think I'd have to
You
double
mentioned
check.
that I didn't catch that
Let me
that
see.
part of it, but I said to myself, no different than with Jalen Brunson, that maybe we don't have to break the bank because Dallas is saying, you know what, he's going to walk. At the end of the season because he knows he can make more than 13.9. So we might as well get something for him. It may not be what we wanted, but it's something. I think the same with Valanciunas that if he's a free agent, maybe we could put together something to get him. But again, he's a beast, man. So he would give us the stretch, double-digit rebounds every game. So I like his game, but again, everything here and Turner, we've talked about this. You and I touched on his injury history prior. Everybody loves Turner, and he's had foot problems in the past, and that's not something you want for a big guy, man. So
You already got a big dealing with foot problems. Hopefully he's past it, but
hopefully he's
I
past
don't
it. Hopefully he's past it. But
know. Yeah.
on paper,
So
again, Turner looks beautiful, but greatest availability is your ability to, ability is your availability.
yep. The best ability is availability. I think that's the saying.
Yep.
So Valanciunas signed a 2-year, $30 million contract extension. So he'll be a free agent in the year 2024.
All right, cool.
So to me, that's better. You make a deal. You know how long you have him under contract for, and you don't have to pay. He's at a fixed figure.
How much is that number again?
He's making 14.7 in 22-23, and then he's making 15.4 in 23-24. So
That's a
nothing
value.
crazy.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
contract for a guy that puts in his stats, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So other players, Kelly Olynyk,
We could have
that
had
was
him this year.
mentioned if we wanted to. Yep. Mo Bamba, he's another player could be available for first, and then long shots I have Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, too much for Cat. Meaning to take a lot for Cat, and again for Bamba and stuff like that. If we can get him for, hey, I'd love us if
reasonable price.
we could ship out New Orleans. But who wants a guy that's been, he's been he can't, his knees acting up again. He hasn't hardly played, this guy. So I just don't see how anyone would want to take him in any trade. So we would have to, with our cap situation, what can we do? So Bamba, I like Bamba. His height is, he's having a really good year. He's played well this year. Great height. He could be that stretch, but I don't know if he's tough.
Yeah,
He doesn't have the exact toughness I like in a player.
I hear you on that one. And every time I make this list, I always forget about Christian Wood. He is another stretch five option out there in Houston. Even though I'm a little nervous about making the move for him after he had that dust up with the
Or a
coaching
few,
staff.
or a few. So I think there may be some character issues there, meaning if we're trying to build a culture, I don't know whether he's a good fit here.
Yeah, exactly. But there are some options, and I think if you look at what the Knicks did with this Cam trade, there has to be more moves. We've been saying it ever since they did the deal.
Log jam.
Burks, Fournier is a logjam. Too many players that play similar positions. So if we're going to move forward with Cam and give him some legitimate minutes and allow him to develop into the star he feels he's going to be or will be, then somebody has to be moved. And it's gonna be hopefully for a player that solves one of the two positions we discussed, point guard or stretch five.
Yep. And if we hold tight, you know what? We're playing well. Let's go for it. Let's see how RJ in that role and different facilitators go. So we'll see. Hey, quick shout out to my friend Ari Michael. It's good to see him. He's always Mr. Knicks Fan TV, so it's a pleasure having him in our chat for a change. Hope all is well.
Oh,
Ari.
that's that Ari. I didn't know that was
Yeah,
him.
Manhattan
Oh,
Ari,
okay,
man.
salute.
Yeah, one and
Salute.
only, man. Good.
He had a
Thanks
little
for
mix on Twitter showing his handle. So shout out to him.
Yeah, he's happening, man. Spark
Yeah.
2718. Again, Joey Matrani. Ashley Inc. I hope all is well, Ashley. Thanks for stopping by. And he's making fun of our boy Lex the Destroyer. Watch it, Ari. We love it. We love our Lex. Bodega Wi-Fi
Yeah.
again.
Why he coming at our mod? What's going on?
Yo, I know that's not cool, but that's my
It's
Ari.
all love in the chat, Ari. It's all love in the
Allah
chat.
wise, Allah wise. I love my guy. Quiet Money as always. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. I just love our family, man.
All right, so Foxy, last topic of the day. I don't think we'll be able to fit in around the league, but this topic I really want to get into. Talk about our guy Rokas. Rokas, he's been balling out there over for Barcelona. These are his EuroLeague stats, and he's averaging 7.9 points per game, 3.5 assists per game, 1.8 rebounds per game, and he's also shooting 56% from the field, 52% from three, and 86% from the free throw line. Now, Barcelona's starting point guard, Nick Calathes, is how I believe how you say the name. He went down in December, if I'm not mistaken. He went November, December. And ever since then, Rokas has stepped up in his absence as one of the leading players on that team. And he's probably the second best player, I think, in performance-wise, behind Nikola Mirotic, the former Chicago Bulls. So, Foxy, what have you seen from Rokas over there in Europe, and how could he potentially factor into our rotation next season?
You know, a lot of people, Josh Giddey is really opening a lot of eyes in the NBA because he has this skill about vision, of the court vision. Rokas has court vision, folks. So he may not, he has nice size and everything, and I thought it was a great thing, but he's truly the old adage, a floor general. So when I was watching the highlights of him, and a couple of the others, he's also named the favorite to win the Rising Star Award, and this is like the second best league in the world. So he's comfortable. You just see he's really, really comfortable. He has beautiful stroke, and drives, kicks it out, but he sees the floor. So when you're doing analysis on a guy like that, sometimes you don't. Josh Giddey taught us a big lesson. Guys that can see the floor in a way, Rokas, I definitely think that we have a gem in him. I do think that he has some things to work out. When you watch him in this league, it's still not the NBA. So, I worry about how he would do against athleticism. But he's real, if you see Dragic and He's slick, man. He's smart. He's savvy, and he's got that sweet little, boom. Watch this, folks. Watch that nice little footwork, and watch how he keeps that dribble going, gets it to his guy. He's really technique wise. He's really sound fundamentals. He'd be a very good addition to this team. So what we were just touching on, what point guards and stuff like that, if we're patient for a year, maybe we're going to have the person that we're talking about that's not a ball dominant, but he can make everybody around him better.
Yeah, I like that you pointed out him keeping his dribble, because when he got drafted, that was one of the things he was talking about. He was working on making sure when he gets into the paint, keeps his dribble, keeps his head up, looking for his teammates, and that's something he's exhibited over there in Europe so far this season. So I like that. Athleticism is still going to be an issue when he comes here, but he looks confident. He's young and he's killing in the second best league in the world. So that's definitely something you would look for when you're talking about playing at the Garden, where the pressure is going to be at its peak. And I don't know if he's going to develop into a starting point guard, but I think his floor right now is at least a solid backup point guard. And when you look at him, you look
Absolutely.
at his age, I think that's great,
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, it was a very, very good pick. And also, it's crazy
you
to
see that behind the back?
I know he's slick, man. That he, worst case scenario, is a great trade asset if we're going against for an elite player and stuff like that. So it was a win-win. And like you see, boom, just, you see certain guys that basketball, they've been playing it since this high that it's just so comfortable for him that, he like probably goes to sleep with a basketball in his arms. It's just so comfy for him, the way he moves on a court. So, kudos again to our front office, because a lot of people, we drafted him ahead of Deuce, and that says something right there.
Yeah, 4 spots if I'm not mistaken, right? He was 32 and Deuce was 36.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. They tried to ban me from watching his or uploading his videos before, but now I got access again. So now I'm back in the mix, watching our guy Rokas, do his thing overseas, and this is great. This is just showing that our front office, free agency still is an F so far, if you ask me honestly. But everything else they've been doing when it comes to trades, when it comes to draft, I think they've got to get at least a B plus.
No doubt. Yeah. So they're showing. I'll say I was a little impatient. I wanted some things, but if I showed the patience, they've made very, very Grimes spectacular. Anybody, tell me anybody better than Grimes, that was picked at that point, etc. And also after 19, where we gave it up, there's not a player I think that's playing better than Grimes and stuff like that. So, kudos to our front office, and can't wait to see Rokas in summer league next year. You know what else we've talked about this year. I know you were there, and one of the things that I loved about it, and it's a tale of two different players. And again, this is my boy Keith, that Rokas, if you saw him, he was goofing around with the guys on the bench with him. He hit a couple of threes and stuff. You saw the camaraderie, but you didn't see that with Luka Vildoza.
Yeah.
So
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, so he didn't have that vibe with the players. So I could see this kid coming over and the guys saying, "Hey, how are you?" and everything. And
welcome back.
Welcome back, but he's got game. And if you want to win the chip, man, all you want is guys around you who got game. And also, like I said, everybody sometimes, what's his vertical, you can't put a price tag on his floor generalship. That's teams, crave that. And we got somebody that does that. He's leaps and bounds ahead of Miles. Is phenomenal on defense and all these things. He doesn't see the court like Rokas. He's not a floor general. Not saying he can't be someday, but he doesn't have those skills now. And Rokas already does, and he's building on them every day.
Yes, I think a solid selection by the New York Knicks, and I'm excited to see what he does when he does come over.
Absolutely.
Foxy.
Uh-oh.
Guess what time it is?
What time is it?
Hey, it's time for the Sports Vibes TV Lounge. This is a section of the show where we open it up to the chat. You guys let us know your questions down in the chat. We'll put them up on screen and we'll answer them.
Yeah, I love the third co-host of this show. You guys take it over. This point of the show every week is our favorite. So let us know what your thoughts are, what topics you want to talk about, and we're just going to chillax and enjoy our time with you.
Also, want to give out a shout out to Justin L. He's putting Ari on game. He said they are always the Sunday show. Keith is the man. He runs the show. Sundays are him and Foxy. That's a fact.
Where's the place
8
to
p.m.
be? Sports Vibe
SVTV.
TV. Sundays
sir.
at 8. So that's the place to be. Sports Vibe TV, folks.
Yep. So Justin L, thank you for spreading the message. Everybody else in chat, let your Knicks friends know that the place to be on Sundays is here on SVTV.
Justin
Appreciate
is
all your
Kentucky.
support.
Justin is Kentucky's finest. You know that. I love talking.
Salute.
I love talking to Justin on hoops and stuff like that.
Yeah. What you call it? Tom Ford said Dragic and Luka had a baby called Rokas.
Great line, man. Great line.
That was
You're
a
happening,
good one. That
Tom.
was a good one. See
Yeah.
what else we had going on in chat.
Rokas is
Sparks.
Dragic. He's just not as athletic.
Yes.
A
just not
young
as athletic.
Dragic. Yeah.
Sparks is Spark X2718 says he looks like a more savvy Pablo Prigioni. Wait, Pablo's coming to town, isn't he? Doesn't he coach Mini?
Yeah.
He's coming to town Tuesday.
Yeah. Be interesting.
Okay. Salute to him.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's going to be interesting.
Bones Highland went off his last game. I was
Yeah.
looking at I didn't get to watch, but I saw the stats. I was like, damn, we could have had him too, couldn't we? Where
Yeah.
did he get picked again?
Yeah. He got picked a little ahead of I think Grimes. My memory serves me right, but he's again. We already have Bones Highland. His name is IQ. that's the reason that type of scorer. But I think he actually may have some elements of his game that are better than IQ coming out of college. But Bones can light it up. You know, I saw a video of Bones in courtyard in Philly. He went to Philly into the and he lit up these guys, man. I just love a tough guy like that going to in the street, in the courtyard of the street, and playing ball there, and he was just lighting people up, man. So I love that type of temperament, but boy, could he shoot.
Yeah, so I looked it up. He was picked 26, so right after Grimes.
Yeah, right. I knew that vicinity, so we could have had him, but we already had him.
I think Grimes.
But we already had him. His name's
guy.
IQ.
Let's see what else we got going on. Rick Pennington says, why are we having so many free throw woes? Bothersome. Facts. I don't understand why this team can't knock their free throws.
Hi, Rick. Yeah, that's always driving me crazy, man, because that's the one thing that
you have 100% control over.
You have 100%, but also just practice. It's muscle memory, man. And, and that's why guys like Mitch drives me crazy. That I know you were rehabbing, but your foul shooting should be getting better. It shouldn't be getting worse and stuff like that.
D. Burr says, seems to me RJ is beginning to be the focal point on offense. You guys think that will continue? I hope so. I think so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, nothing really jumps out to me that says, okay, we need to, deviate from what's working right now. And going through RJ and still, Randall's still a major part of this offense, but we're still allowing RJ to operate with a little bit more freedom and have the ball in his hand. And it's working. He's finding, shots for himself, and he's also getting looks for a guy like Mitchell Robinson. And we know Mitchell Robinson needs someone to get him the ball under the basket so he can dunk. And RJ's been doing just that. So.
And it was funny when the game started up yesterday. Alec was at the point, but he was running. I'm like, give the ball to RJ. Let RJ start running the. So I was like, what? Yeah. So I'm like saying 1 possession, 2 possessions. Come on, let RJ take over. What's going on here? But he eventually took over, and we saw at the end of the game. So what his stats were.
Facts. Khalil Smalling says, should the Knicks bring back Rokas next season? Yes. He should be a part of this rotation. I think we should find a way to move Kimba out of the situation, maybe by trade. And if at worst, you got to cut him, I guess you can go that route, even though that's not my preferred route. But if you do that, then you're looking at Deuce, Rose, Rokas, and then Quick as being 4 potential options at point guard.
Yeah, and the beauty of them that they're combos. So depending on the thing, they could play, off ball, on ball. So. Yeah.
It allows us to be versatile offensively.
Versatile, I say.
Versatility. like Tip says. We surveyed 100 people, says, what's more likely to happen first? Fournier has a triple-double or Mitchell makes a jumper from the free throw line? I would say Fournier gets the triple-double
Yeah,
because even
me
Mitchell's
too.
free throws, I'm not too confident with those. So I'll go with the Fournier triple-double.
You know, but we surveyed 100 people. I'll go even further and say, forget about him making a jumper, just attempting a jumper. I think, you know, seriously, it's like I think Fournier will have a triple-double before he even attempts one. So I don't care if he, but that was the funny thing that I said that, you know, him shooting like 60% around, you know, like say he shoots 60% from the foul line. Everybody says, you know, that's terrible from the foul line. But you know what? If he was shooting 60% from pick and pops, everybody would love it. So it makes no sense to me. Like, at least try to keep the defense honest, do that for him. And like I said, I'm watching Westchester Knicks last week. They put the ball into Jericho, fakes one way, beautiful little jump hook. And I'm like saying, did it a few times. I'm like saying, I've been watching 4 years of Mitch, never seen that. So
Not
it's
even
like, come on. So we surveyed 100 people, Fournier all the way on that question.
Ashley Incorporated 1 says, as the official third co-host, salute to you. Would you trade Noel, Kimba, and picks for Miles Turner? If so, then who starts here? In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, but I think
the question is, why would Indiana?
I was about to
not
say, I
hang
think
up the
the
phone on me?
NBA would be calling the head of Indiana, like, what's going on here? Is there something
If
wrong
we made
here?
that trade, the front office, not the front office, the league office would be on the phone.
The
saying
league
there's some
office,
collusion
yeah.
afoot.
Yeah.
There is some collusion afoot. Hey, we get rid of Kimba and Nerlens Noel contract. Listen,
That'd be a
I'll
dream
live with
come
it.
true.
Keep
But,
Mitchell, put him as the backup big behind Turner. Hey, you get your 48 minutes of rim protection, and then you have Turner out there in clutch situations to give you floor spacing. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go.
Elite shot blocker, man. That's for sure, Turner.
All right. D is Baldwin says, in the 10 to 15 games, I'm assuming next, does Cam start or come off the bench? How many minutes and how is he utilized? I think Cam will probably come off the bench to start. We'll see him get phased in, gradually. He's still coming off of an injury, so maybe you might see 16 minutes to start. And as he starts to earn more minutes, you'll see that go up from there. But hopefully by 15 minutes in, he's actually starting. That's my hope, especially after what we just heard from him saying he views himself as a star. It's not too many stars coming off the bench.
And Grimes is saying, over my dead body.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. I don't think it's going to come, it's not going to set Grimes back in terms of his minutes. I see that coming from either Evan or Alec Burks. I think we've heard Tibbs say Grimes is his guy. A lot of times Grimes was the first one off the bench over Deuce. And I was kind of shocked because I thought Deuce was Tibbs's guy, the one he wanted at the 36th pick to be the point guard maybe of the future. But to see Tibbs gravitate to Grimes the way he has, I don't think Grimes has to worry about his spot in the lineup, especially if he keeps playing defense the way he has and knocking down the three. What was he, 3 of 3? Or was he 2 of 2, 3 of 3?
I think he was 3-3, but 2 of 2 from 2, and he hit that one mid-range jumper. And he was exactly 3-3, 2 of 2 from 3, and that one mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, but D, great question, and I think Keese is right on it. And I think that if Fournier's not hitting, then bring in Cam. If Fournier is on his game, fine. But also, like you said, let's put Burks back to that second team. I think that's where he's most comfortable.
Yeah,
especially,
I like Burks with the second team.
Especially D Rose. Hopefully he'll be here soon. That's going to be again a dynamite second team.
Sparks 2718 asks, why do we struggle with wide open threes? Honestly, I don't know. You would think they're going to start knocking down their shots, and I think they have recently. But for the most part, you want to be happy that we're getting wide open looks. So you would hope that at some point these players will stop shooting towards the back of their baseball cards as opposed to missing the open looks.
Yeah, we shot 42%. Yeah, 42% yesterday from 3. So we can do that. We shot 39%. We were third in the league last year, folks. 39% and change from 3. So I'd love us to replicate that.
Yeah, let's see what else we got going on. Any other questions you see, Foxy? Point them out. I'm a little slow going through the comments.
Yeah, Justin says Jericho can finish left hand or right hand. Shamanic is a stretch 4 now instead of a slow 3. Got to keep getting better. We got some stuff going on in Westchester. Yeah. You know, it's funny, Justin, when you said can finish left hand and right hand. Again, was watching so much film of Cam this week. He has a really nice left hand. You'll see him come down the right side of the court and then all of a sudden go left and finish with his left hand. So he's very, very talented. So not a lot of guys can do that and, you know, all of a sudden pull up, take a jumper. If you do that, he'll come in and, you know, take two. He has really long strides, fake one way, two strides, boom, he just jammed it. Whoa, that's athleticism. But that left hand part that you said about Jericho, that's what triggered in my head because I've been watching crazy amount of film on Cam over the last few days. Like, wow, very nice hand, man. Left hand.
La Ferrigno or Lo Ferrigno says, why no cat talks? Is he not on the Knicks radar?
Expensive, man. You'd have to
expensive, and I don't think he vibes with Tibbs, right? Didn't they have a little bit of a falling out during that time together with Minnie?
Yeah. There was something there. So I don't know whether or not he is the dog that Tibbs likes. He has stats, but I don't know if he's the dog.
Doesn't have the fight in him that he would prefer. Ari Michael says, do you pay Mitch this offseason knowing that you have to pay RJ next summer and prop Reddish, or do you trade him? It all depends on what his contract demands are.
I thought you were going to see something different.
No, it depends on what his contract demands are. If he wants something in the Nerlens Noel range and we're able to move on from Nerlens Noel, then I'll give him that, you know, $8, $9, $10 million a year. But if he wants Valanciunas money, then I need to see more from him leading up to the trade deadline, because even though he's come on recently, there's still too much inconsistency in his game. So if he's able to show that he can be a consistent force, because even against the Hawks, you know, Clint Capella wasn't there. Mitch did what he was supposed to do when they don't have another elite big out there with him.
But he still made mistakes in the game. There was several
still made mistakes.
Possessions.
I want to see him do that. I want to see him be solid against tougher competition. I mean, players are going to make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect, but I want to see Mitch go out there night in and night out against the elite centers and make life difficult for them defensively. And that's what's going to get Mitchell Robinson paid.
Yeah. But what I also thought you were going to say is what we pay. It all depends. Can he can he finish this season not being injured? Can he show that he's durable enough? And we know it's tough. He's going to have, you know, tape on his wrist and his shoulder and stuff. But can he play through the season? He's taken off the weight. It looks like he has his bounce back. He has his energy back. But can he be durable enough? You hate to throw money at somebody that you know that's going to have several stints a season on the IR. So that's what I'm looking for. We're not expecting him to grow his offensive game. He hasn't shown any post-up moves. He hasn't shown any little pick and pop jumper, as we just said, a little jump hook. He hasn't shown any of that. But if he can be a defensive anchor on this team, the rim protector, you know, that's a whole lot of value. But as Keith said, in a Robert Williams type of category, not you know, you don't want to pay crazy for a guy that has absolutely no offensive game and has a history of injuries.
Thanks. Keem Lowe says, do you think the Knicks make a trade before the deadline, and at what position? I definitely think they make a trade before the deadline in order to free up minutes for Cam. And at what position? I think they should. If I were to put priority, point guard should be the number one priority, and then a stretch big should be right after. Because if you look at the centers we have on this roster right now, if we're going to get another big, we got to find a way to get rid of Noel's contract, because he's been unable to stay on the court, and he has shown his value. I forgot what game it was. Was it the Mavericks game where somebody blew by Evan Fournier and Nerlens Noel was right there to get the block? I think it was the Mavericks game. He showed his value then. I was hoping he'd be able to get more minutes on the court so he can continue to show his value.
He's an elite shot blocker.
That way we can move on from him. Yep. Yeah.
Literally elite.
So if we're able to move on from him, then I can see us going out there and targeting a big. But unless we're able to move that $10 million a year contract, I don't see us going out there and making a big splash at center. But
yeah, and also
wise, I think it should be point guard number one.
Yeah, Keem and anybody else, if you're new, please do a hashtag new in the chat so we can give you a proper hello and welcome to the SV Nation. But also, not all trades mean you get people back. Like we shipped out Mook a season or so, and we got a first round pick, so we can get rid of this logjam, but not necessarily have to take a player back in return. Just get reduced logjam, but get future assets.
Because maybe we get some more stash and drafts. See if we can make something out of them. Let's see what else we got going on.
Hey,
other
Lo
questions?
Ferrigno is new. So Lo, our mods and family, do me a favor. Please reach out to Lo. Please reach out to Khalil Smalling. Please reach out to Jean Cheriel. Please reach out to Kem Lo. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, we've added almost 360 subscribers just in the last few weeks since the holiday. We really appreciate it. We welcome to the SV Nation. We're here every Sunday at 8 p.m. For this show, but so much other shows that Keith and others do on the Sports Vibes TV channel. So check it out. We guarantee you put a smile on your face, as we always say. You know, hopefully it's enlightening, sometimes controversial, but always entertaining. So, and what's your thing, Knicks? All the Knicks.
Oh yeah, if you're tuned in for Knicks news, rumors, or analysis, make sure you're tuned in to Sports Vibes TV.
Exactly.
Facts.
Pedro Cepedas, hi. Hope all is well. Mars Van Gogh.
And so Foxy, we'll wrap it up there. I think it was a solid stream.
Sorry for the technical problems.
to get through.
Sorry for the technical problems, folks. StreamYard and other things. It's aggravating being a podcaster sometimes, but boy, just love you guys. Just a couple of things before we go. I just want to do a shout out to our guy, Jay Boogie. A lot of you know that, maybe you don't know that Jay lost his mom. Jay lost his mom this week. So do me a favor, put in your thoughts and your prayers for Jay Boogie. We love you, Jay, if you're listening. Losing a mom, and our guy Ron Cleveland a week or so went through the same thing. We're with you. And his mom, Barbara Ann Overstreet Perry, beautiful woman. All of our thoughts and prayers. We love you, Jay Boogie. You and your family are in our thoughts and prayers. So everyone, do me a favor. Just think about Boogie in your heart, man.
Yeah, condolences to Jay Boogie and his family. I didn't know that. You broke the news to me just now, Foxy.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, we sent some flowers his way to let him know how much we love him. Also, so we love you. And also, folks, if you are in the North Carolina area, now that the holiday's over and you're moving up north, and if you're in New York, New Jersey area and you're moving down to the North Carolina area, please, bettercaremoversnc@gmail.com. That's bettercaremoversnc@gmail.com. Tell them you've been watching Sports Vibe TV. You're part of the SV Nation, and Boogie will definitely hook you up. Also, one other shout out that we wanted to do that Keith and I are finding out that truckers love our show. They just love our show. So shout out to the truckers. We appreciate all you do for getting the products to all of our, the people across this country. So if we're bringing joy to you during your long drives, we really appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. But a shout out to the truckers. We love you guys.
Yeah, Convoy was one of my jams back in the day. We got ourselves a convoy. Ain't this a beautiful sight? That's my jam. I ain't gonna front.
Yo,
Also,
let's see you move.
I was chuckling a little bit. It was probably a terrible time to chuckle because D. Burr had a funny one. He said, "Hey, Foxy, Mark Berman never has technical difficulties." Just saying.
Just when he opens his mouth.
Foxy
D-Burr, don't you love me, D-Burr? What do you it's like, always getting trolled, man. Where's the love, man? I'm just trying out here, man.
But we'll
Nudie 25.
That one.
Yeah.
Salute my guy, Nudie. He's been holding it down for day one.
I know. That's why I had to do that shout out to our guy, man.
Facts. So we're going to wrap it up here. Definitely had a great stream. We got through a bunch of topics. SV Nation, thank you guys for all your support. We'll be back again next Sunday here, 8 p.m. with a lot of other topics for us to discuss and see how our Knicks have gone over the past week or so. So, Foxy, thank you once again for co-hosting with me, SV Nation. Appreciate you guys being the third co-host, like we say, every week. You guys hold down with us, provide us with great comments, great feedback, and we can't run this show without you. Actually, I probably couldn't have ran the show solo without when Foxy had to dip out. I needed SB Nation to be the second co-host. So thank you guys. I greatly appreciate it.
I love them so much.
So that's the end of the show. Once again, I'm Keith, host of